Welcome back to Taking the Hill on MSNBC. I'm Patrick Murphy. This past week, the Labor Department released its annual Veterans Employment Report. Good news. For Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, unemployment fell 1.8% last year. Now it's down to 7.2%, and it's still far too high and well above the national number. Joining me now is one man who's working on that problem, Democratic Congressman Mark Takano, member of the Veterans Affairs Committee on Education and the Workforce. Congressman, thanks for joining us here today.
Hey, Patrick, thanks for having me.
So, Congressman, we got some good news first. And what do you think drove that nearly 2% decline last year?
Well, I think it's the overall improvement in the economy. In California, things are looking up. And, as I talk to constituents, even in the Inland Empire, where I represent Riverside County, which usually lags in the economy, things are looking up. So I'd have to attribute some of that to the fact that we've seen an overall improvement in the economy.
Yeah. So, I'm a big believer that veterans, when they come home, they're civic assets, they're leaders in their community, but also the same ethic of leave no one behind. The unemployment rate, though, is a lot higher for post-9/11 veterans than it is for overall veterans. Is that just a matter of them being younger and trying to enter the workforce during the recession, or are there other factors you think that are at play?
Well, when you think about an 18-year-old, sometimes even 17-year-old young person entering service, they haven't gone through the normal paces that a young person goes through, whether it's going to school, having that initial job after high school, or if in midway through university. They leave the military often without that private sector experience, and that adjustment is somewhat considerable. I'm pleased that there are programs out there such as in California we have something called Work for Warriors, which directly places veterans and service members, departing service members, into jobs, and I'm pleased that, that a program like that can do it for $500 per person rather than the $10,000 that the other programs do. And Congressman Paul Cook and I are trying to make this California model something that would go national.
Yeah, and I know you just introduced that act. How do you convince employers that military experience is actually, though, relevant job training?
Well, many employers out there already know that veterans bring with them considerable leadership skills. They've often had training in the military that is transferable, whether it's driving a truck, a large vehicle that can transfer readily to many transportation companies like UPS. Whether you've been trained as a medic, that can transfer into whether you're going to move into a private ambulance care or become a paramedic. These are all transferable skills. We have to do a better job of making sure that there's a seamless transition for our service members into civilian jobs and certifications. Yeah,
no doubt that certification program would really help. Let me switch gears, Congressman. The most sacred duty of a member of Congress is whether or not to declare war. Now, we know that ISIS is a terrorist organization. President Obama has asked the Congress to vote on a new AUMF, authorization for use for military force. When is the Congress going to get after it and bring it up for a vote?
Well, I can't tell you when. I am still a junior member. I have been among, I think, those members of Congress very early on to call for an AUMF debate. The fact that we haven't done that, I think, is an abdication of Congress's duty to be involved in such authorizations. I personally believe that the AUMF language that the President has submitted to Congress should be debated very, very quickly. It is, as you say, one of our most important duties, and I am among those who believes that the language is, although the President himself would view his language as somewhat restrictive, and indeed many of the Republican members think that the President's AUMF doesn't go far enough.
Yeah, I know, Congress, you have been fighting to make sure we get a vote on it. But from my viewpoint, Congress needs skin in the game here. The political class of our country needs to weigh in whether or not we're going to send American men and women back into Iraq and into that war.
Well, especially when you think that it could mean a protracted involvement, an involvement of billions, if not trillions of dollars, and American lives on the line. The American people need to have the choices laid out before them. In a democracy, we simply must have public sentiment behind whatever major challenge that we face militarily. And without it, it simply will be, history shows it's a disaster for our country without having the American people vested in a decision of this magnitude.
No doubt. Congressman, probably my last question, time-wise. This week, the new president of Afghanistan is making his first official visit to the White House. What do you think needs to happen to repair the U.S.-Afghanistan relationship?
Well, I believe that a good start is that we have a partner in the new Afghani president that doesn't view, I think, the president with a huge amount of distrust. We need to build a stronger. Hopefully, the president's able to build upon that beginning. I just hope. I wish them well in this meeting.
Yeah, so, real quick, we're expecting to see a timeline for withdrawal that might be significantly extended in Afghanistan. Do you realistically expect the American presence to look different in the future?
Say it again. Do I expect what?
Do you think that, as far as our posture, do you think that the fact several thousands, close to about 8,000 right now in Afghanistan, do you think that will change in the future? Will we extend it? Will we keep 8,000? Will we still continue to decrease it?
Well, I think. Given what we saw happen in Iraq, I think the president is probably being very cautious about how much more quickly we draw down forces in Iraq. So I would expect to see a cautious posture in terms of how much quickly we draw down. Although eventually I do think that we do need to draw down our presence in Afghanistan.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of the Tuesday meeting at the White House. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us and Taking the Hill. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.